Okay, let's begin. Once again, welcome to our second webinar, the second webinar of Exceed, dedicated to the production. The first one was more about the treatment planning. And today we're going to talk about the production itself, everything when it comes to the physically producing your aligners in your labs and dental offices. Today, we're going to be presented by Anastasia Walova, the head of the support department of Exceed. And my name is Konstantin Piponirov. I am the sales manager for the European market of Exceed. As for the objective and agenda, we're going to provide you a few field tested tips allowing efficient in-house aligners production from the day one. And we're going to start talking about Exceed. Then we're going to talk about the foils. We're going to review them. As you can see on the screen, the list of topics basically follows the production process itself. So after the foils, we're going to talk about the printing of the models. We're going to review and compare the vertical versus horizontal approach of the printing, the hollow versus solid models. We're going to talk about the vacuum forming, trimming styles, and the case delivery. And of course, we're going to provide you with the recommendations regarding to each process. So let me quickly review the Exceed's business model. We are the company that provides detailed 3D orthodontic treatment plans, enabling our customers to produce high quality but affordable orthodontic aligners and bracket and trace in-house. So it all starts with scanning the patient, taking the digital impressions or the traditional ones, uploading it with the pictures and the x-rays and the treatment plan in the Exceed account, printing the working models after approving your treatment plan, of course. And once you have the printed models, you can trim, polish, so fabricate your aligners in your dental labs or in your dental offices. So just a few words about our aligner production experience. We have delivered 55,000 aligner plans since 2015. We, of course, actively support aligner production by the labs and private offices all over the world. We have our own research and development facility dedicated to the aligner production. And of course, our business depends on the successful manufacturing and delivering the aligners by our customers. So we know what we are talking about. Let's start with aligner foils, and Anastasia is going to present you the first topic.
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Konstantin. So first of all, I need to mention that all the materials are listed on our Exceed website in our user guide. Therefore, we will describe them very shortly, telling you about two types of the material foils are being made. So the first one is PETG material. This material is very similar to the regular PET material from which the water bottles are being made, with a slightly changed formula for better elasticity. PETG foils are used by the majority of aligners manufacturers. So, for example, in the United States, the best known brand is Essex from Dentsply. But in our view, this foil is less suitable for aligners production. We prefer to work with other brands such as Biolon from Dreva, Comfort Track from Great Lakes Ortho, Duran or Duran Plus made by Shoei Dental, and Track A from Forest Dent. With regards to advantages and disadvantages of these type of material. So the advantages are that it is cheap, it is affordable, it is easy to use, and as I said before, there's a large variety of producers to choose from. But there's also some disadvantages. So for example, that the manufacturing tolerance is about 0.1 millimeter. So in the case, if you have 0.75 millimeter sheet, the range may be between 0.65 to 0.85 millimeters. Even within the same sheet itself, there may be areas that are not uniform in thickness. This in turn may lead to forces that are exerted unequally on teeth, and therefore some deviations from the virtual setup are expected. The second one is that the material is relatively rigid, so aligners made from this material lose shape and breaks faster than the aligner made from more expensive materials. But according to our internal observation, only 1% of this type aligners break. And the third one is that the forces stop, unfortunately, to apply after after some days. So in the rest of wearing period, the trace acts like retainers, not as aligners, not as corrective devices, unfortunately.
All right, let's move to the PTU foils. This is a little bit, so to say, next level aligner type of material. It is more expensive. So if you can get the PETG material around $1 per sheet, you will have to pay at least $3 to $4 for the PTU foil. But again, this type of material has its own advantages because it is more flexible than the PETG. Therefore, it breaks not so often. So it breaks not so often as the PETG material. And again, due to the better flexibility, it is active for 6 to 7 days, comparing to the 3 to 4 days of the PETG material. The reason is that this kind of material is made a little bit differently. It is made in layers. It has 3 layers. Therefore, it is more flexible. On the other hand, this type of material, like I said, more expensive. And also it is hydrophilic. It means that since you open the package, you have to use it within 30 minutes. You cannot let it sit in on your desk for a day or a week. Since you open it, you have to use it. Talking about the providers of this material, the most well-known is Zendura by the Bay Materials, and also Scheudenthal recently launched the PETU foils. So they are really good in quality and not that expensive as Endura. We are testing them. Since we have more information about it, we will let you know, of course.
So moving to a small summarizing of all the themes that we have discussed, we have some recommendations. So the first one is about the templates, the attachments templates. We name them matrices, and there are 2 types of them. 0.4 millimeter and 0.5 millimeter. They can be soft or rigid. I have both of them with me. So the first one is 0.4. It is rigid, and it is, you can see that it is very thick. And the second one, it is soft. Let me show this. So you can see that it is very thin and it is very flexible. You can use both of them for aligners. Also, we recommend to use 0.75 millimeter for aligners themselves. So this is how it looks like. The force I should apply is a little bit more than for matrix, and 1 millimeter for retainer. So you can see that it's very hard to apply any force on it. Also recommend to wear aligners for 2 weeks, but this could be capped to 10 days, up to your decision as a doctor and your patient. So this is up to you. And also recommend to wear aligners 22 hours per day. Also, there is a little tip from our side with regards to a protective layer. So some materials are provided with a protective film with protective layer. It is a thin film attached to one side of the splint, so it is necessary to keep the aligner clean and clear after vacuum forming and trimming and polishing. So this thing helps you after trimming and polishing are done, the protective film can be removed. So the liner remains clean and clear. So you avoid the fingers on it and aligners and printed material. There's no mess on the liner. And Konstantin, could you please help me
Sure.
to illustrate it?
This is how it looks like. If you take a look, see, this is the foil itself, and this is the protective layer. So this is the Dreva Biolone, but Duran Plus. Keep in mind that there is the Duran, the regular material, and Duran Plus. You need the Duran Plus so you can have this protective layer here. This is how it looks like. You conform it, fabricate it, and then take it out. Let's move on. Printing. At this topic, we're gonna compare the horizontal versus vertical orientation. And let's start with the horizontal one.
Horizontal printing. As you can see on the photo, this is how it looks like on the printer's platform. And with regards to pros and cons. So advantages of this method are printing accuracy because layers are distributed evenly. And the next thing is speed because this printing time is faster than vertical printing. But some cons, so it is quite rare when sticking out elements of the model can be printed unevenly, which will lead to the elimination of the model and failure of printing. To avoid this disadvantage, you can use supports, and we will talk a little bit later about the sticking out elements. And for now, we will discuss vertical printing.
Vertical printing. As shown on the picture, you can simply put more models on the platform. So this is the biggest advantage. Therefore, you can produce more aligners at the same batch. And yeah, this makes sense. On the other hand, you need to put them on the little pedestals on the bottom of the model. That means that somebody has to model these pedestals for you. By Exceed, it is done by the default. If you do it somewhere else, make sure it is done because otherwise you will not be able to put it on the platform. Again, the printing failure with the sticking out elements are possible. If you want to avoid them, you may use the vertical printing with supports. As you can see, it is not that vertical. It is at 45 degrees. It is tilted a little bit. And you need to use the supports in order to do that. So here you can also put more models on the platform than the horizontal one. Not that many models as the vertical one. And again, you have to spend some material on the supports. So yeah, it is your decision.
And sticking out elements, as we named them. So first of all, I need to mention that less than 20% of all models of all cases have these issues. So this phenomenon can be explained as this thing appears when there's a certain abrupt transition, as for example, you can see on the photo. So printing goes on layers respectively when the previous layer has nowhere to be fixed. It just falls off the platform. Most often it depends on the structure of the patient's jaw or teeth. Usually our exit engineers themselves determine whether a particular case is suitable for vertical printing or not.
All right, moving on to the models. And let's discuss the hollow models approach. As you can see on the picture, the model is hollow inside because you don't need it to be solid to produce the aligners. Basically, you need the shape of the teeth. What's inside is not that important, but there are some issues that you better know about. First of all, the advantage of such method is that you simply save the resin. You save the material due to the hollow space inside the model. But at the same time, if you use this model for the passive aligner or for the retainer, that means that you're going to use that model not one time, but many times. For the aligners, you just use it once. For the passive aligners or for the retainer, you use it 1, 2, 3, 4 times, and every time that when you use it, you deform it. So you put a pressure on it, and as there is no material inside, it deforms a little bit. So the aligner is not going to be the passive aligner, or the retainer is not going to be that form that you are expecting. So we recommend you not to use hollow models for the passive aligners or the retainers. The other disadvantage is that the failures with the sticking out elements may also appear here. Anastasia just told you about that. The third disadvantage is that when the model breaks, you have the resin leakage, and this is not nice. So it means that if it breaks, the resin goes outside the model. Your table is messy, and yeah, this is not something to be happy about.
And all the disadvantages of the hollow models are fixed by solid models. As you can see on the photo, it is solid and the material is inside. So the advantages of this method are that the model is more sturdy, and since it is solid, the possibility of printing failure inside the model, named cupping error, or also sticking out elements, they are excluded. But one cons that it is high material consumption for vertical printing. So in our opinion, based on our experience, we recommend you to not use hollow models printing unless you product less than 10 cases per month. So it is better for you to make solid ones because of the material leakage and all the disadvantages. And the next thing we're going to discuss is Pontic. Konstantin, thank you. So Pontics, they're placed instead of missing teeth. I have one example with me. Let me show how it looks like. So this one is Pontic. This is how it looks like on the real model, and how it looks on the printed model you can see on the screenshots. So as I said before, they're placed instead of missing teeth, look like a cylinder, rising above the gum by 3 to 4 millimeters, depending on the case. So the main thing it is making, it is connecting the teeth to each other. They're placed to make it easier for the patient to remove the aligner, and also to avoid a tray breakage due to a radical height difference between the adjacent teeth and the gum. So in Exceed, we can also place an artificial tooth by copying any of patient's existing tooth and placing it there. So you can just tell us which one we should do.
Okay, just a few more practical recommendations regarding the printed models. As you can see in the picture, there is the mark of the case ID and the step number. And this is really, really important and really convenient to have that on your model in order not to mess up the order of the aligners, and make sure that this particular aligner belongs to this particular step. Case ID also helps you to identify your case in your system. Also important to mark the aligner itself by the step number. As you can see on the script captions, we do it on the mold from the inside. You can see the number on the software model. You can see the number on the printed model, and on the aligner itself. This is very, very practical and very important to do that. Moving on to the vacuum forming.
Vacuum forming. Thank you, Konstantin. And the next thing we're going to discuss, it is about blocking Tremas. So the angle of the teeth and jaw do not always allow us to make a Pontic or to place an artificial tooth, as there is a high probability of the appearing of sticking out elements. Therefore, we use wax and recommend you to use wax. Wax up or waxing up. It is just putting wax on the Tremas and black triangles. So it should be done before the vacuum forming. You can also add wax when there is a crowding, so that the transition from the corner to corner of the teeth become smoother. The wax should be thinner than the tooth itself, as not to break the contact between the tooth and the aligner. So it should be minimized to maintain the pressure of aligner to teeth. When there are Pontics, you should just add some wax to the angle between them and the teeth so that the transition becomes softer, since it is not always for us to put Pontics in occlusion with the antagonist. By the way, a small tip from our side, as we talked about soft matrices, soft templates, it is better to not use wax with them because it is very difficult to wash the wax. So often patients experience a very sharp transition between the anterior and posterior groups of teeth. I mean, the third and the fourth teeth, the canine and the first premolars. So for such cases, we also recommend to use wax. You need to add a strip of it. You can either top or side, creating stiffening and softening the transition. In such cases, by the way, the trimming should be done without a sharp transition, but we will talk about trimming a little bit later.
And just a few more recommendations before we move further. Regarding the vacuum forming, we recommend you to use the flat plates only and not the granulate. The granulate is mostly used for the Gibbs models, since they have a bigger base, and by the models, you don't have that big base, so you can put it on the flat plate, and the granulate is not gonna be present on the teeth. It's not gonna mess up your aligner. So just use the flat plates. This is the recommendations from us. Also, by the protruded teeth, we recommend you to put a little coin on the back of the model, so your teeth that are staying like that are going to stay perpendicular to the aligner sheet. And if you don't do that, there's going to be the air between the aligner material and the model, and the shape of the aligner is not going to be as you expect it to be. So also, we recommend you to use one model per one aligner sheet. Some offices try to save aligner material because optically it seems like you can put two models on the platform, on the flat plate. But again, if you do that, there could be situations when there is no enough material for each of them, and the form of the aligner is not as you expect it to be. And also, going back to the chair side, we recommend you to have enough gingival margin when taking impressions or the intraoral scans. If you do not do that, it means that you're still going to lose some material by the trimming and polishing. Therefore, you have to have that margin by vacuum forming the models. Let's move on to the trimming.
There are two types of them. Trimming types, curved and straight one. With regards to curved trimming, you can see the photo of it, how it looks like. And the first one thing, you can see that it looks much better. And also it is easier to remove than the straight one because there are fewer contact points and anchorage. But the disadvantages are that it's harder to trim, so you should teach your technician or your assistants to trim perfectly. Also, it is not very good in case of gum recession, so there is now contact between the aligner and the exposed root. And also, it can touch the gingival papilla. Also, you can cut teeth by cervical line, curved, but with smoother transition without going too far up or too far down. This reduces the risk of breakage and makes it easier to remove a tray.
Okay, and talking about the straight style of aligner trimming, as you can see on the picture, it doesn't look that great as the curved one, but it has its own advantages, such as better retention and anchorage. It doesn't break that easily as the curved trimmed aligner. And of course, it is easier to trim. So you don't have to teach your staff to trim it following the line of the teeth, but you can do it in a more straight line, saving time and saving efforts of your staff. On the other hand, it doesn't look that good, as I said already. It is harder to remove. This is the other side of the better retention of and anchorage. And it is less comfortable to wear, just simply because you have more aligner material in your mouth. So it's just covering the gingiva. So it may be not that pleasant as the curved trim style aligner.
Also, I have two types here with me. So for you to understand how it looks in the real life, so this one is the straight trimming and this one is a curved trimming. So this is better to understand than to see the photos. Also, we have some recommendations. The first one is that the liner should be smooth with clear boundaries and smooth transitions. Also, please pay your attention that to polish after trimming, it is better to leave even 1 millimeter of excess material, which then easily could be removed during polishing, than to cut off the material. We recommend you to use a marathon machine. It is time tested with a milling lens at full speed, so you can fuse the model on small ones, and a polisher at even half speed, because using a high speed, the polishing brush can just crumble. With regards to templates, the matrices, they should be trimmed at even lower speeds, especially the hard one, which is 0.4 millimeters. The soft ones, they're 0.5 millimeters. Also, for easy removal of the first removal from the printed model, you can blow air under the edge of the liner placed on the model. Or after vacuum forming, you should just cut, let me show you. You should just cut the model so that inside, on the lingual side, there is some material. So instead of pulling it on the molars, and you could just put your fingers here and push it so the liner comes and just pops up. This really good thing to use. Also, with regards to speed settings, they should be correct. And the milling lens should be placed at the angle of either 90 or 45 degrees. By the way, using 45 degrees and can be processed in such a way that a bevel inside is obtained, which will facilitate further polishing. By the way, if the print file also has some implants or artificial teeth or even pontics, you should trim in the middle of the tooth. And the next thing we're going to discuss, it's painting the teeth. Konstantin?
Yeah, just a short practical recommendation. When you have missing teeth and you're preparing for the implantation, you can use the liner paint to conceal the fact of the missing teeth. Let's talk about the case delivery.
Exit system gives you a possibility to prepare professional indicators and packaging of your in-house liners. So this will help you to more efficient delivery, to arrange it, and to make fewer mistakes and more appreciation from your patients. So the first thing is the case summary report. You can see it in the photo. So it indicates case ID, doctor's name, patient's name, step number of steps, and IPR. Also, it shows the attachments and the aligner features such as cutouts and hooks that should be applied in this case. The next thing we have is stickers. In our system, there is a doctor's personal account, which, among the other things, allows you to create individual stickers for all your cases. It could be downloaded in PDF format or sent directly to the printer. Let me just show you how it can be look like this. Or you can buy the simple one in Amazon or eBay. They have them. And this one is with stickers. You can see how it looks like and also on the photo. And Konstantin will show you the video of packaging and shows more details.
Yeah, when it comes to packaging, basically the main thing is to put the liners in the right bag. We also recommend you to put the patient card, with the short information of how to wear the aligners. how to remove them, how to take care of them. Some of our customers, they also put such thing as the hooks for easy removal, or the tether to bind it with the aligners on to make sure that they fit better. But as long as you have your aligners and the case summary, you're good to go. Just we'd like you to make sure that you order that plastic bags, that you put the stickers that you can easily print with the sticker printer, for example, the brother one. And yeah, just using the white, plain white plastic bags with the stickers on, it's already allows you to put it in a professional manner, to pack it in a professional manner, and this is all you need to know about the packaging the your aligners. We're done today, so it was really nice to talk to you today. Of course, this session is recorded, and we're gonna send you as the follow-up the first thing tomorrow morning. If you have any questions, you can address them to these email addresses. More info on the exceed-ortho.com. There you can find the aligner guide, very detailed document of how to produce your aligners. Of course, there are more videos, tutorials, and articles. We wish you a pleasant evening. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Anastasia, for your input. And
Thank you very much.
Good night.
Have a good night, everyone.
Bye-bye.